everybody, and welcome back to day 2 of this fabulous convention in Halifax. By the way, that was Ashley McIsaac's song there, and Ashley's going to be kicking off our Saturday night street party. And that song was called Sleepy Maggie. And I think we might be all feeling a little Sleepy Maggie this morning. Wonderful for you to be out and about to join us. So I'm Andy Fillmore. I'm the member for Parliament for Halifax. And it's my great pleasure this morning to be introducing to you Dr. Richard Florizone, the president of Dalhousie University. I'm proud to say my very own alma mater. Dr. Florizone will impress you this morning. He began his term as Dalhousie's 11th president in July of 2013, and he brought a really unique mix of skills that he developed through a long career in the public, private, and academic sectors, both in Canada and abroad. Richard made an immediate impact, not just on Dalhousie, but on Halifax, when he showed us that he had a refreshingly ready ability and willingness to engage with not just students on campus, but also with the community at large. This includes a really strong talent on Twitter. He's always ready to engage there. You can find him at @DalPrez, and he's a really good presence there in the community as well. At Dalhousie, Richard is focused not just on the importance of research and supporting researchers, but also on supporting the infrastructure of research, which is a great alignment with the fundamental belief of Canada's government that Canada's universities are building a nation of scientists and innovators. And I guess that's why Richard has grown so accustomed to see me on campus to join him for a variety of different funding announcements over the last 2.5 years. He's grown an incredible body of researchers at the university. He's drawn world-class researchers from around the world. He's been a driving force behind our brand new ocean supercluster, of which we're so proud. Won't you please help me welcome Dr. Richard Florizone.
Well, thank you, Andy, for that warm introduction. Bonjour à tous, et bienvenue à Halifax. It is also my honor to say to you, Dalhousie, and welcome to the traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq people. You know, it's a particular pleasure for me to welcome you as president of Dalhousie University, because we're celebrating our 200th anniversary this year. Right? 49 years older than the country, not bad. And I know that there are many, many Dal alumni at this convention this weekend, from our own Chancellor, the Honorable Anne McClellan, former Deputy Prime Minister, of course, Minister Scott Bryson, and as you just heard, our very own Halifax MP, Andy Fillmore. And thank you, Andy, for that kind introduction. You know, of course, I am equally proud of all of our alumni across the political spectrum, because that's what higher education is all about. Not just skills and knowledge, but the wisdom and the confidence to be an engaged citizen and leader. I also want to applaud all of you for your important contributions to the democratic process in Canada. Public service is vital to democracy, as is the work of political parties. It's important work to come together in convention, as you're doing. And I wish all of you, the delegates, a very productive and enjoyable weekend. It's actually my first convention. I've never been to a convention before. Although I guess as a university president, I should know a little bit about politics. I think it was Henry Kissinger, who had been on the board of Harvard University, who said that university politics made him long for the days of Middle East peace negotiations. So I should have some experience. Now, we've got a good room this morning. I see some rather energetic faces. Did you all get a chance to experience some East Coast hospitality last night? Yeah? It's pretty remarkable, isn't it? You know, in fact, just last year, Halifax was ranked as one of the top 15 friendliest cities in the world by Condé Nast Traveler. Isn't that remarkable? And you know, in my own experience here, the fun and the music you can enjoy in an East Coast kitchen or a living room rivals the best concert venues in the land. For those of you from out of town, I hope you will take the time to enjoy some of the historic sites and the awesome natural beauty of Nova Scotia and Atlantic Canada. You know, as incredible as you find our music, our culture, our food, and our landscape, it might surprise you that there is another exciting story about Atlantic Canada. It's a story about our people, our knowledge and partnership, and about our shared potential to build a country that is more intelligent, that is more inclusive, and more inspiring. I'd like to share that story with you now through a handful of examples. Let me begin with Micah Van Niekerk. Micah is from Corner Brook, Newfoundland and Labrador, and a recent graduate of Dalhousie's nursing program. Now, when she was just 15 years old, Micah's life was struck by tragedy when she lost her mother, Katrine, to breast cancer. Micah recalls telling her mother, "I will never stop fighting in your memory," and she hasn't. Now, as she grieved, Micah planted a seed of inspiration that has grown into a charitable program that helps cancer patients in Nova Scotia and Newfoundland access the treatment that they need. She founded a charity called Katrine's Care Package in her mother's name that has raised over $100,000 to help cancer patients with their travel costs. Micah took that tragedy of losing her mother and turned it into a strength and a motivator. She then brought that strength and determination with her when she came to Dalhousie University. While completing her nursing degree, she conducted research on the psychological impact of a cancer diagnosis on Indigenous peoples. She also continued work on her own charity, along with volunteering with a host of others. Now, it won't surprise you, and you'll expect that Micah has received many awards. But in 2016, she received one of the most prestigious academic honors in the world, the Rhodes Scholarship. Now, keep in mind, worldwide, only 95 students are chosen each year for the Rhodes. Only 11 Canadians annually are chosen for that $100,000 award to study at Oxford University in England. And Micah was the 90th Rhodes Scholar in Dalhousie University's history. And we also just recently announced our 91st, Naini Jensen, an equally remarkable and talented engineering student from Nova Scotia. There's no shortage of exceptional talent in our region and our country. We just have to believe in it, and we have to nurture it. As Micah and Naini and their peers demonstrate, we have incredible young Atlantic Canadians with creativity, with compassion, with courage, and with talent that places them among the very best in the world, like Oxford University. Now, in Atlantic Canada, we also have the institutions, the teachers, and the researchers to foster that knowledge and talent, and that brings me to my second story about Dr. Jeff Don and other researchers like him across our region who are doing groundbreaking research that is both international caliber and making a real difference right here at home. Born in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and raised in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, Dr. Jeff Don is one of the world's leading experts in lithium-ion batteries. For more than 35 years, Dr. Don has been at the forefront of research and innovation in battery technology. And through a mixture of both fundamental and applied research, the work of his team can be found in lithium-ion rechargeable batteries used in power tools, in electric vehicles, and other devices all around the world. So in 2016, his work brought Elon Musk's Tesla Motors to his door, making Dalhousie University the only university in the world to have a research partnership with Tesla. As Jeff put it, and I quote, "The Tesla R&D Center on Deer Creek Road in Palo Alto, California, is right across the road from Stanford University. And at Stanford, there's many battery researchers. Nevertheless, Tesla chose us, not Stanford. And now Tesla Inc. has set up a research facility, Tesla Canada, in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Remarkable. It's the point of that story. The point of that story is it's an example of how we, all of us in Atlantic Canada, can compete and collaborate globally. We can bring the best of our region together with the best in the world for the benefit of all. And by the way, Dr. Don's work isn't the only exciting clean energy collaboration happening in Atlantic Canada. At the University of New Brunswick, they are building a smart grid cluster in collaboration with researchers from Emera, from New Brunswick Power, from Siemens Canada, and IBM. Their ambition? It's to build a cyber-secure operating system for the power utilities of the digital age, improving efficiency, improving environmental impact, and creating new opportunities for our region in the process. The fact is, we have many researchers in Atlantic Canada and across this country making a real difference in our lives, transforming our health, our environment, our economy, and our communities. Researchers like Dal's Dr. Christine Chambers, who together with colleagues across Canada is developing real practical tools to reduce children's pain from needles and surgery and bringing them to the public through social media. Researchers like Dr. Matthias Bernstiel and Professor Tuma Young at Cape Breton University, who are mobilizing Indigenous knowledge of birch bark oil to treat skin conditions like eczema. And researchers like Dr. Lucy Cocum at St. Mary's University right here in Halifax, who is improving the reintegration of breast cancer survivors into the workplace, ensuring that our Nova Scotia workplaces are as productive and as respectful as possible. By the way, every one of these researchers that I've talked about, from Jeff Don down to Lucy Cocum, is supported by federal research funding, along with provincial operating dollars for our universities. And that is why I, together with my university colleagues across the country, am so supportive of the Fundamental Science Review launched by this government, and applaud the efforts by the current government of Canada to reinvest and reverse the decline in Canada's research funding. Now, those research dollars, those dollars that you saw in that latest budget, don't just fund talent and knowledge. They also fuel the next generation of partnerships and innovation to catalyze the social and the economic growth of our region and our country. To demonstrate that, I'd like to share with you a story about one of Atlantic Canada's defining features, the ocean. Now, it may surprise some of you from other parts of the country to realize just how critical the ocean is to life on Earth. Fully half of the world's population relies on the ocean as some source of its protein. And 40% of the world's oxygen is produced through phytoplankton in the world's ocean. It sounds like an exaggeration, but to put it bluntly, the survival of humanity and our planet depend on a vibrant and healthy ocean. And that's why, over the last few years, a dedicated group has come together to build two incredible collaborations that will bring over $500 million in private and public research and development funding to our region. There's the Ocean Frontier Institute, or OFI, which is a historic partnership that brings the top ocean researchers from the flagship universities in 3 of our 4 Atlantic provinces, together with 4 of the top 5 ocean institutes in the world. 3 federal departments are involved, the Navy, and 19 industry partners, all focused on 3 things: sustainable fishing and aquaculture, better understanding climate change and the role of the world's oceans in climate, and third, delivering new ocean data and technology products to end users. But OFI would not have been possible without partnership. It took committed and visionary partners like Nova Scotia's John Risley, who made an historic $25 million charitable contribution. The federal government rose to the opportunity through a national research competition called the Canada First Research Excellence Fund. Competitive, and it awarded $94 million to a consortium led by Dalhousie, Memorial University, and UPI. It was the largest peer-reviewed federal research grant in the country in 2016. $94 million. But it doesn't stop there, because that support catalyzed further contributions. Remember, the idea of partnership is critical here. And in total, it resulted in an historic $220 million in private and public support for ocean research. Then just this year, Canada took its next big step to becoming a global leader in the ocean economy, when the federal government announced its support for the Ocean Supercluster. That initiative was just one of 5 successful supercluster proposals across the country, attracting public and private investment in this new approach to innovation and economic development. Now, Canada's Ocean Supercluster is in turn comprised of over 70 organizations, So you're getting the partnership theme. 70 organizations from different ocean sectors, including fisheries, renewable energy, aquaculture, oil and gas, shipping, and defense, all who will co-invest to adopt and commercialize technologies to solve shared challenges. The result will be hundreds of millions of dollars invested in ocean-related R&D and commercialization in our region. By the way, with every public dollar more than fully matched by the private sector. This ocean opportunity for Canada is very real and very significant. Canada has the world's longest coastline, yet we get comparatively less economic benefit than other ocean nations. Our vision for the supercluster is inspired in part by Norway, which, by the way, has a population 1/7 of Canada, but whose ocean economy is 7 times larger. It's through partnerships like these that we are bringing together the best of our region with the best of the world, inspired by some of the best, like Norway, to drive the social, the cultural, and the economic development of Canada. There's real momentum to these partnerships across Atlantic Canada. In addition to OFI and the supercluster that I just mentioned, we have the $64 million IDEA project in downtown Halifax, which will revitalize Dal's engineering and architecture campus. There's the $20 million Center for Ocean Ventures and Entrepreneurship on the Dartmouth waterfront, and the recent expansion of the University of Toronto's Creative Destruction Lab to Dalhousie University. All of these are fueled by true partnership and shared funding between the private sector, between universities, between community colleges, and all levels of government. And it's starting to yield results. In 2015, Halifax was home to more top tech startups than any other city in Canada. And in 2016, the city was ranked 5th among Canada's top tech hubs to live and work. And the Conference Board of Canada has described Halifax as one of this country's fastest growing cities. You know, but it's not enough, and I know you agree, to just grow. It's not enough just to be smart and innovative. To build a strong region and country, we also need to be inclusive. Now, all universities across Canada, and indeed all great universities around the world, are passionate about inclusion. And that's because institutions dedicated to free inquiry and academic excellence cannot afford to exclude anyone simply based on their identity. We need to build institutions and a country where all feel that they belong. At Dalhousie University, we've joined others across the country in embracing the 94 calls to action of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. For us, that means not only working towards greater access and support for our Indigenous students and scholars, but also changing our curriculum so that all Canadians get the appropriate education on Aboriginal people, issues, and knowledge, including the history of residential schools. To bring that commitment to life, let me end by telling you about Naomi Metallic, one of Dal's leading Indigenous scholars. Professor Metallic hails from the Listugush Mi'kmaq First Nation in the Gaspé. She's a Dalhousie law grad and holds advanced law degrees from Osgoode Hall and the University of Ottawa. She was also a clerk with the Supreme Court of Canada, becoming the first person of known Mi'kmaq heritage to secure a clerkship with our nation's highest court. Now, Professor Metallic teaches in our Schulich School of Law, and in 2016 became Dal's very first Chancellor's Chair in Aboriginal Law and Policy. That chair was made possible thanks to a generous donation from the Honourable Anne McClellan, Dal's Chancellor, and Canada's former Deputy PM, who you all know very well. Now, as Chancellor's Chair, Professor Metallic has been instrumental in helping to build the profile of the Schulich School as a centre for Aboriginal law and policy. She's also played a leading role in developing the new courses and curriculum as part of Dal's response to the TRC, including a new first-year course launched last year on Aboriginal and Indigenous law and context. You know and I know that we have so much more to do to build an inclusive university, region, and country. Yet by working alongside incredible people like Professor Naomi Metallic, one can't help but feel excited and optimistic about our future together. You know, my hope is that these examples I've shared with you today, give you an impression of the terrific promise and potential of Atlantic Canada. I think together that all of them demonstrate one simple yet powerful lesson. And that is when we can come together in new ways and find common ground. Look what we can do. Look what we can do together. Now, it sounds awfully trite, and it is too trite to simply say that the secret to success is for all of us just to work together and to collaborate. And yet, we must find new ways of coming together. And that's not always the most natural thing to do. Building real trust can mean making way for the advancement of a partner, one that you might have seen as a competitor or an opponent. Working inclusively requires you to open yourself up to new ways of thinking and knowing. And bringing out the best in each other may take an investment in your partners, even at the cost of a further investment you might have made in yourself. Together, we can build a country that is intelligent, inclusive, and inspiring, where we reconcile our past and draw on the diverse strengths of all of our people, where we inspire creativity, courage, and compassion, where we bring together the best of the region with the best in the world for the benefit of all. That's the vision of the university, that's the potential of our region, and that's the dream of Canada. Thank you.